Hi everybody, it's Ashley of Day-to-Day Social Work. I am a private online tutor and I specialize in assisting people to pass the license exam in social work on the master's and bachelor's level. You can find me online at daytodaysocialwork.wix.com/my site, and you can find me on YouTube at Day-to-Day Social Work. So this video is about community social work. So more than about 5 times here recently, I've had people ask me to make a video on community social work. And so it's kind of difficult to do that because the exam is so micro based in that it's more direct and indirect assessment and intervention, that kind of thing, as opposed to being macro based, which is what community social work is about. And then community social work is just such a broad It's a broad concept that I don't know really how to narrow it down other than talking about like community assessments. And with community social work, the community is the client. You would assess the community, do like a needs assessment, just like you would do an assessment on an individual or a micro client. You would do an assessment and then determine what the needs are and figure out how you need to intervene if you need to intervene at all. Same thing with the community. So the community is the client, but there's so many different concepts that I would be on here literally teaching, which I don't really know how to do as far as community social work goes, because it's so much, and it would just be, for one, I would have to do a lot of research just to make sure I'm giving you the right information. So it seems like a comprehensive study guide, like most of you all already use, a lot of you use Don Apgar's comprehensive study guide. Seems like that any comprehensive study guide though would have sections on community social work and macro social work in general. The study guide that I used when I was preparing for my exam did, and I know it's not like a lot of information on community social work because, like I said, the test is so micro based instead of macro based, so it's just hard to kind of teach per se. And again, I just don't have the time to do all of that research to figure out how to narrow it down. So it's really up to you and your independent study to figure out what you need to know on community social work. And part of that is looking at the outline for the exam and figuring out what is on that outline that is related to community social work. But I'm not going to leave you empty-handed, because I was thinking and I've been thinking of how I could make a video on community social work and make it not long and drawn out and boring and that kind of thing, because you've already paid your school to teach you about it. But I understand that we need just like a general summary of what's what. So I thought back to when I was in grad school, one of my professors gave us this resource for community, just for communities, interacting with communities, and just some of the things that I remember, just because my concentration in grad school was, I went the macro track, and so we talked about communities and organizations more so than they do on the micro track where they talk about individuals and families. So, I just remember doing the windshield assessment of a community, just driving through a community and seeing, are there sidewalks? Are there light posts outside? Just those kind of things that a community might need. And then also talking about the needs assessment, and also being aware that just because you as the professional believes that a community might need something doesn't mean that the community itself needs or wants what you think they need. And that's really the reason why you do a community assessment, and find out what the needs are, because you may feel like a community needs a new wellness center because you want them to be healthy, but when you go into the community, everybody might be against that, and they might say, well, yeah, that's great and all, but we really need after school programs for our kids, or daycare facilities with affordable rates for our kids, and that kind of thing. So but it gets into this whole big thing, because there's so many different ways you could look at community social work, of course, just like with any other area of social work. So I just don't know how to break that all down. But what my professor did, though, and another thing about communities too is, trying to get in touch with the gatekeeper of the community, and that's kind of how you are able to build rapport in certain communities. And the gatekeeper could be anybody from the 75-year-old nosy neighbor that knows everybody's business, or the well-respected drug dealer who knows what everybody needs, or it could be the mayor or whoever. So the gatekeeper could be anybody with insight into the community that can help you build a rapport with the community and gain the trust of the community. So, but the resource that my professor in grad school gave our class was called Community Toolbox, and you may or may not be familiar with that. I will put the link down in the description box because it's a wealth of information. It's a whole lot of stuff. And what did I do with it? So it's kind of, you have to kind of navigate it a little bit to try to figure out how to work it. But the main thing that you would do is to go to the home page, and then you would click on learn a skill, and then you would click on toolkits. And they also have a tab for table of contents, and that kind of gives you an overview of everything that they talk about. So you have let's see how many chapters. I mean, it's like a wealth of information. It's like 46 chapters, and it's all broken down into an overview, community assessment, communications to promote interest and participation from the community, develop a strategic plan and organizational structure, leadership and management, analyzing community problems and designing and adapting community interventions, implementing promising community interventions, cultural competence in spirituality and community building, organizing for effective advocacy, evaluating community programs and initiatives, maintaining quality and rewarding accomplishments, generating, managing, and sustaining financial resources, social marketing, and sustainability of the initiative. So we know that community social work can last for years and years and years. You could work on one project for literally 20 years. And so it's just a lot that goes on with community social work. And also, when we talk about the exam questions are so scenario based that it's hard to teach community social work based on a scenario, because I could give you scenarios, but then to try to apply the concepts is just not really easy to do. So with that being said, though, the Community Toolbox is a great resource, and you don't have to read through all this stuff. It's very well organized. They have different toolkits where you click on one, and let's just say that I wanted to, out of those 16 that I just read, advocate for change. So you click on that, and it's a whole thing about research the issue and gathering background and local information, and how do the people feel about the issue, how does the issue link or divide different segments of the community, and all this different stuff. And then they talk about essential facts, like who's affected by the issue, what factors contribute to the problem or goal. And then they talk about stating the broad goals and specific objectives for the advocacy effort. So it's just it's broken down, and it's very, like I said, it's very well organized. So just go on here and browse around and see what sections you think that you would benefit from reading about. So that's really the best that I can really do. That's like the best resource that I can think of to help people who have questions about community social work. And community social work has been on these last few exams that people have taken that they've let me know about. So I think this is going to be a good resource for you. Again, it's called Community Toolbox, and it's through the University of Kansas. So I'm going to put the link down below. And if you go and visit the link, let me know what you think about it. Like, was it helpful for you? Did you learn anything? Were you able to get from it what you needed to get from it while studying and that kind of thing? All right, so again, make sure you click in the description box below and go to the website and check it out. All right, so till next video, I'll see you later.